YouTube is Brad Phillips. We've got the Kavan 1.5 meter Pilatus PC-6. Super excited to be bringing you this. This here's our third flight. It has been feature packed, the other flights, and also lots of problems. Small problems, but lots of them. And you need to be prepared for that. If you buy this plane, we've had issues with the rudder, we've had issues with the flaps, we've had issues with the landing gear, and we've had issues with the battery tray that doesn't exist, rather, the battery opening, the paint around the tip, the tips of the battery tray. I mean, just a lot of little things. Prop out of balance. They all add up. But the thing is, I still really like the plane. We wanted to get a better flight. It's very sunny still. Wanted to give you guys some sunny footage. Obviously, the ground handling has been fixed. You'll understand if you watch the Maiden flight, the actual Virgin Maiden flight. Grass hops in this plane are awesome, which is why I'm gonna lead off with that. A little bit of speed here. We'll go to a complete stop, arresting our motion, full. Beautiful, drawn out, realistic looking takeoff. This thing is smooth as butter, even if it's 1,000,000 degrees, okay? And it is 1,000,000 degrees right now. Guys, this plane is super good. And that's part of the reason why I've tolerated the handful of different not delightful traits, because they're all correctable. And when they are, boy, I like this plane a lot. And that's what's so weird about it, is you would think it's a Dynam, and yet it's not at all, because the build, as frustrating as moments were, was pretty uneventful. We have spring-loaded landing gear that decided to pop out. I almost missed that on the list. I fixed it last night. That was like a 30-second repair. The mounts that go into the foam, I almost think they had mixed the epoxy. It's like that weird kind of white gummy epoxy that Spectrum like to use to mount their receivers and bind-in flies. This is a plug-and fly, full disclosure, 631, Air 631. Trying to do a nice scale flight for you. Lots of turbulated, light wind now. It was very windy earlier. Okay, full landing flaps now, bringing it in. Guys, show you on the mains, keep it on the mains, and she is glorious going through the hole. We're actually gonna go left. We almost never go that direction. Have to do contrary rudder to keep this thing going where you want. And otherwise, the thing is absolutely fantastic. Use the rudder to turn the plane. It will slowly roll the plane into a perfectly coordinated turn. And then out of the flaps, she flies like a different beast. I'm gonna tell you this, she has so much power, you can do whatever you want to her. You can flip her over and put her in any position, which is always fun. But full landing flaps will leave you wanting with tip stalls, so be careful, because the wings do fold and bend a little bit. You gotta keep an eye on your wing struts. Your wing struts will eventually release if you fly like I do, which is basically some mixture between general aviation scale performance and then 3D. Negative G loading will press your wing struts back into the hole, but my suggestion is, once you get all the goop out of the hole, dry it out, let it sit for a few days. I have not had a few days, full disclosure, which is why I haven't done it. And then China glue them so there's a little bit of give, okay? You can use CA if you want, but then when it pops, it's gonna pop out and not go back in, okay? One wheel touch and go. We're gonna do some grass hops here. Guys, this plane is very good. I'm giving you good advice here. I want you to buy it because I think you're gonna like it. The lights are amazing. The tip stalls are bitey, so you gotta be ready for them. AS3X helps with that. Safe is fine. I don't fly in safe, but it does work pretty good on this plane. We open up all our angles, and you'll notice I have a little rider there. I'll show you some not grass hops here, actually. Okay, so take off flaps here. Go ahead and get into the throttle, get it on its mains, and look how awesome this looks. And just to show you the ups, guys, it's unlimited vertical. Let's just call it what it is. Or near unlimited vertical is really the more precise measure. But if you guys have never seen me excited about a plane recently, you're gonna understand I am a sucker for general aviation planes. This is a licensed product, so it looks right, it does what it's supposed to, and you're gonna be flying around on takeoff flaps most of the time because she really likes it that way. Now, I'm not saying you have to, but But the way I fly, which is generally low and slow, and along the trees, check this out, guys. Those white lights in the wingtips are lifesavers. Doesn't look like it right now, but just wait till we give you a couple of passes on the darker video footage. I am assuming at this point we're gonna give it to them, camera crew?
Yeah, I think they'll probably see this flight first, and then we'll probably do our true maiden and then adjustments and second flight at the end.
Almost hit that tree.
You did. That tree is
Holy
gonna
crap.
be...
It blends right in. I almost forget it's there.
Yeah.
It's basically a tree that grows through our junk pile, folks. So if you don't know what a junk pile is, you don't live on a farm.
Yep.
Every farm has one. Sometimes it's hay, sometimes it's tools, sometimes it's pallets, sometimes it's...
all of those things.
All those things, exactly. In our case, it's implements that go onto our tractor for land maintenance and farm maintenance. Set it into a nice turn, keep the throttle set, and she'll just fly around like it's nobody's business. Absolutely looks very realistic. Watch those white lights pop as soon as you drop behind the tree. Absolutely gorgeous. Some complaints we have about this plane have been clearly articulated in all of our videos, but I just want to talk about the positives. The thing has tons of power. It has an absolutely gorgeous 3-bladed prop. Love the silver on the spinner. Love the livery. Love the way the wings do flex. Just wish that the wing struts were a little bit more effective. Now landing flaps, slowing it down even more. Grass hops are near perfect. Almost never wants to tip over, which is great because I'm gonna tell you something. If you wanna fly this thing to the limit, you can do that. But you also have to remember those carbon fiber spring-loaded simulated wheel springs are in addition to the actual mechanical spring effect of the landing gear. So they're sort of like a pseudo superficial, but they actually do work. Problem is they didn't make any ball link or any sort of a pivot point, and so it's got a hard fixed point at the top and the bottom, meaning there's not really any mechanical way to let go of that torsion load. It has to bear it in the carbon fiber. But look at that, guys, on the mains like it's nothing, like I'm walking the dog here. All the way down the runway and back up. So if you guys fly from a grass strip, this Pilatus is gonna be perfect for you. PC-6, it's a PC-6. What do they call it, like the Beluga or something like that?
No, Porter. PC-6 Porter.
Porter, there you go.
And our grass over there there are not many planes that can handle our grass over there like that.
And look at that, guys. I don't have the balls to do that with most of my planes, okay? Now, oh, well, the grass is pretty good trimmed right now, though, hon.
It's still bumpy over there, though.
Yeah, well, no doubt, but I'm flying halfway.
Yeah.
So I did bounce the prop. Oh, God, it looks so good, though. Inside pass, sorry. I should have called that out and gave you time.
That's all
I
right.
didn't.
The other thing is, I mean, we're super excited to just have a new line to showcase. And we talked about this in the unbox, but I don't think we've mentioned it while we've been flying. When you look at the website, Kavan calls this an ARF.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not an ARF. It's a plug and fly.
It's a plug and fly.
So basically, you put in your receiver, you provide your battery. I'm just trying to spot the manned aircraft in case I interrupt you. I can't tell where they are, but they're low enough that I need to be aware. Man, when there's blue, oh, he's up there, I see him. Okay. I'll go fly and give you guys a backdrop. I apologize for interrupting. Yeah, they call it an ARF, and then...
And we didn't put on one control horn. We didn't do, I mean, it's...
Look right there, right behind me now.
Oh, yeah, he's way over there.
Blue skies will hide stuff from you,
and
folks.
The haze is weird on my camera.
Okay, full landing flaps here. So, yeah, so they call it an ARF, and I apologize, I totally interrupted you there, but manned aircraft takes priority, obviously, as you know.
But don't let that scare you when you see that.
Yeah, it's not an ARF.
It's not.
It's actually going to be just what we're used to seeing in the United States as a plug and fly. So it's actually, I think there were 17 total pieces. Or wait, am I remembering the extra? Because we just did the extra right around the same time we did this.
I think this was less pieces, actually.
Yeah, less pieces, but we did have some problems.
Yep.
And guys, you'll see it in the Unbox Build radio setup. That was one of the things, whenever we start working with a new manufacturer, brand, affiliate, in this case, it's basically a mom and pop shop. It's just a guy and his wife who love the hobby, who are, you know, balls deep in it like we are. And they said, hey, I want this brand here in the North American market, and I'm gonna do it. And we're gonna help people like that because we love this hobby too. And we want competition for the big boys. And when I say the big boys, I mean the people we work with. We want competitors for them. By the way, that was one of the deals we had with Horizon when we started working with them. We said, we're gonna work with competitive products because that is what we do. We reach our audience for a reason, and it's not because we have sold our souls to the devil. Not that I think Spectrum is devilish at all. But
we answer to you guys.
We answer to you guys,
not to
them, not to Horizon, not to FMS, not to Banggood, not to RC Going, not to Amazon, not to Walmart, not to any of these companies we've ever worked with. Look at this, doing a pole dance for you right here on Brian Phillips RC, one of the worst things you'd ever see in your life. But it's a plane, thank God. And so guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we're here to do a couple of things. One, we want to prevent one and dones. How do we do that? By getting you into the right plane at the right time for the right reasons. And guess what? You know them and we don't. Yeah. But we're going to show you what the plane does, and then you can place yourself in the pilot seat. And if that means that you're just fighting to get off the seat, that's the other big thing we do, is we are going to help get you in the air. Look at this weird slip I'm doing here.
It's really weird.
It's like a knife edge, trying to keep it nice and flat, show you the controllability. By the way, watch your G-loading if you want to keep those wing struts from popping out. That's why I didn't yank out of that too early. Take off flaps. And I gotta say, with the changing light conditions as the sun goes down, I love flying this plane around this time of night. And that's pretty much when we've flown it. And we do a lot of our flying around this time of night, guys, just in case you were wondering. It's when we end up having time as a family, because we work our butts off to bring you guys all this stuff. And one of the biggest things we do, beyond just trying to get people in the air, obviously we try to sell stuff once in a while because we want to help promote the hobby. And part of the way we promote the hobby is by getting these manufacturers to help, you know, move the inventory. It doesn't mean that there's one that we love. We're not ever going to be these people that are like, oh, this is the fastest, newest, speediest, 90th millimeterist jettest. That's just such a waste of time. What a joke. What a marketing ploy. You know, there's always going to be some sport jet, and there's always going to be some pissing match between Freewing and FMS or E-Flight. We don't care. We just want good planes. And if they're good and they come out the same day, we're going to bring you both if we can. That is, if Motion would ever work with us. And we don't buy into this marketing BS. We are the marketing BS, guys. We are the marketing BP, RC.me. That's our website and domain. You can go to Brian Phillips RC, check out all the different planes we've crashed for you. I was just thinking of that as I went by the FMS crash zone there. And guys, if you're brand new to the channel and you're thinking, well, why would I watch you over somebody else on YouTube? Because I'm not a professional pilot. I'm not a sponsored Horizon pilot. I don't go at full speed the whole time and make planes look perfect like they can do no wrong. I do occasionally crash. I am a real guy. I work for a living. I have a day job. I work my 50, 60 hours a week. And then I come home and we do it all over again for the YouTube channel. My wife, my wonderful angelic wife, literally spends just as long, if not more, probably more like 60 to 70 hours a week running this channel behind the scenes, because it takes a lot of work, and you guys probably don't realize that, and that's okay, you don't have to. But just putting up shorts and all the stupid things that YouTube wants us to do, working with our vendor partners and all these different companies that we're trying to help support as we live this amazing RC dream. We're also building an aerodrome right now, which means we're literally dealing with contractors. We're dealing with excavation crews. We're dealing with concrete workers and all the different people, dealing with permits and engineers and all this crap so we can make this amazing full-scale runway, helipad, all this stuff. And you're thinking, well, but Brian, why do I watch you instead of Jay, instead of Kujan? Why don't I like him? Well, it's not that I don't like him. I met him. He's a nice guy. He's a lot shorter than me, by the way. I could beat him up. But the thing is, you know, I just think it's just a difference in mentality. It's a difference in presence in the market. Like, I mean, I really love this stuff. I live it, I breathe it, I eat it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I do a better job of it. That's why I'm fatter. And what do we do? And what do we do that's different than sailors? Well, we go into more depth about what we're doing, how we accomplished it. And then also, you know, I get a little bit more technical than they do. I mean, of course, they're very nice people. Nate and Abby, we've met them. We've spent time with them. Super great family. Got nothing to say against them as persons, but we do want to bring you a little bit different angle. Same thing, RC Geek. Man, he is a heck of a pilot, but he does what he does really well, and he does that one thing, which is making a beautiful jet with hydraulic lines on the landing gear and details that I would never even know existed because he worked in aerospace for like 19 years or something, which is so cool. Or two brothers. We've got John over here who wants to, you know, he wants to do 3D everything. And let me show you how to get the most out of every performance move you've ever thought you shouldn't have done with the plane. And then you've got Tail Heavy out here who just wants to pick on everybody and be mean, and yet they're pretty dang good pilots and full-scale pilots, I believe. So it's just, there's a lot of choices out here. And we got Ryan, can't forget Ryan, a good friend. Obviously he knows his stuff. You guys may not know this, but I broke my teeth watching him when I was getting into this 9.5, 10 years ago. I was watching Ryan and Captain Mike. I love this channel. I still watch it. I still talk to him periodically. We get along great. We're like buddies. We've hung out together in person. It's so much fun being in this small group of influencers, if you want to call us influencers. I think a better way to put it would be RC enthusiasts that are just like you, and we got a good deal and we said yes. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, we're just like you. We want to drive the ship in the right direction. And the way we do it is we try to convince people that are on the sidelines to get off the sidelines and stop wasting time. Because the beer truck is right around the corner. Let's see if we can do a full stop here, full landing flaps. A little bit of slip, a little bit of slip, a little bit of slip. Gear down. Ooh, bouncy. Very bad. We're not taking that. The beer truck's right around the corner. You can always tell your wife about the snakes in the basement. Tip the UPS guy. We give you all sorts of different strategies. The best way to do it is to pick a woman that's going to support you in what you do. And I say a woman because, I mean, most of you guys are guys. Watch yourself. That was crazy. But at the end of the day, guys, we love this stuff. We really love it. And when I say we, I mean I love it. My wife tolerates it. We don't just bring you surface level interactions with these planes. We get intimate. It's kind of heavy sometimes. So, you know, when we find out at a family just like us that's super into the hobby comes to the North American marketplace with literally mortgage-sized financial decisions to bring product here so we can buy it, we are going to obviously take the opportunity to help them as much as we can. Are we going to make a few bucks on it? We hope so. Is that what drives our decision making? No, not really, but it is definitely involved, okay? We're not liars here on Brian Phillips RC. We're trying to like pay for an aerodrome. This is not cheap. There's gonna be a gigantic building over there. It's gonna be like twice as big as our house, okay? So just to let you know, they don't give those things away. No, they don't send them for review. I've tried desperately. So when we find out that somebody is just in love with the hobby as we are, and they're offering a new brand in North America that hasn't been available yet, we're all over it, okay? We're super excited. We're flattered that people trust us enough to give you guys the full truth. And I'm gonna tell you what, in talking with FPV Builds, talking with Anthony, he was very adamant. He says, I want you to be totally truthful. I want you to point out the flaws. I want you, and he like really insisted on, you know, beat it up, point out everything. We don't generally beat things up as hard as we did this one, but I just want you guys to know that's what they asked for, and we are going even deeper than normal. So when you see our review of this, we're gonna point out more than you're used to seeing. It's not because we dislike this model. It's because we're trying to be as thorough as possible, and that's kind of what he wants, okay?
And he wants to be able to take feedback back to the manufacturer
so they can fix it
and make improvements.
Because he's just like us.
Right.
Okay? He's not the manufacturer. He doesn't have some gigantic, you know, multi-million-dollar 3-year plan of orders for 14 containers of planes. You know, I mean, maybe someday that'd be great. I hope he does. But right now, this is what we got, and it's amazing. And we're really happy with it. And it comes out of the box looking like a Horizon or an FMS model. I mean, it is really good. That being said, there are still some picking issues, and we will point out every single one of them tediously in our video.
Yeah.
Not because we're upset with him, not because we think it's an inferior product, but it is imperfect, just like every other product we've ever reviewed. Now, does that make this model right for you? Come over here so you're not shadowing it. It's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that this plane, this Pilatus PC-6, is for you? The answer to that question lies in your own heart, in your brain, in your mind, okay? This plane is not gonna be for everybody. It is not a hard to fly plane. In fact, it is very easy to get on its mains. It is gonna encourage you because the tail dragger has such a long wheelbase that it's quite easy. It feels tame and mute when you're going to get it up off the ground. It comes in and lands beautifully. Do you have to be an expert to fly it? Absolutely not. Do you want to fly it as your first plane? It might be a little bit tough because it's a plug and fly. I'd rather see you into a bind and fly that's easy, okay? I think that's a better move for you. Now, he might tell you the same thing, but I'm gonna tell you this. Follow the links in the video description below if you think it's for you. You can do it. If it's your second, third plane, it should be no problem. If you can fly a Carbon Cub S2, you're good to go. A 1.3 meter gold and silver one, you're gonna be good to go. If you can fly a Habu, you're gonna be totally fine with this. If you can fly a P-51, you're gonna be fine with this. And by the way, if you wanna fly a P-51, this might be a good entry for that because there's very limited P factor. You're not gonna have to jank it off the ground. You're not gonna have those types of problems that you have with warbirds. And you can 3-point land it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Land on the mains, fly it into the ground. Land it on a well-manicured grass strip if you can, and it won't roll out forever because this does have rock hard tires like we see on many manufacturers. Now, as soon as we start getting pneumatic tires or squishy soft tires on these, it's gonna be really, really private. I'm gonna need some private time with that plane.
We're gonna start having heat issues.
So guys, we're overheating right now because it's so dang hot. We love that you're here with us. Thanks for being our audience. We're gonna show you all the flights probably.
Yep,
BrianPhillipsRC.com, bprc.me, same place. You go there. Check out the competition, buy what you like. If you do, you'll support us, do it through the links, okay? We also have links on the videos, which just show like a thumbnail. You can click on it, you'll go back to YouTube, or you can click on that, it'll take you to the website. You can choose, if you don't like it, don't buy it. PayPal, one-time donations, we're friends and family. Patreon, monthly support. Every once in a while, we throw out a video here and there. Same thing, members only on YouTube. Sometimes we throw out a special video. Special thanks to our 60 or so members on each platform. That really does help. It's like a nice, big, squishy pair. We like squishy pairs here. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
And then YouTube super thanks. They're always fun as well. All right, guys. That's what you get because Mother Nature has slapped our camera across the face and said, I'm not going to let you finish this video in full. And that's what I'm going to tell you right now is we are 6 minutes and 39 seconds over our 15. So it's like 19-minute flight.
Yep, I think it was about 17 minutes of actual flight time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
17 minutes of flight time, 2,200 or 3,200, 3,200, 4S, and we'll probably have about 25% left. And this thing wasn't pushed. We didn't break anything this time. Admittedly, that's the first time. But the breaks that we did have were very small and very easy. I mean, it was like 5 minutes while she was getting the camera unloaded.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it was super quick.
Guys, awesome plane, Pilatus PC-6. Get one today. Support people that take the big ultimate plunge for RC because at the end of the day, remember, they're the same ones that are gonna keep the fire under the seat of the big dogs, okay? And when there's fire burning, they're gonna respond. They're not gonna respond because like 14 people complain. They're gonna respond because there's a competitor in the room, okay? When the competitor's in the room, and they're gonna try to smack them with their fly swatter, okay? So until they get smacked, let's help them. That's all we got. More flights, stay tuned. Brian Phillips RC signing out on this video. If you wanna see the unbox build radio setup, by the way, we did miss that rudder thing on our Virgin Maiden flight. We didn't realize it wasn't broke free. Probably the biggest mistake was on my end for missing that. Everything else we'll point out as it happens. So stay tuned, we'll show it all. Thanks for watching. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look what we've got here, something all new, actually all new, it's crazy. I know it does happen occasionally. The Pilatus PC-6. This thing is awesome. From who? Kavan. Okay, Calvin. Kevin.
We're calling him Kevin.
We'll get it figured out. Spring-loaded wheels, okay? That's pretty cool. Hard tires, steerable tail wheel, beautiful scale details. Had some issues on the build. We'll talk about it in the unbox build radio setup. They were small, but they weren't. It wasn't perfect, okay? So we don't want you guys to think we're blowing smoke. I gotta see how flies. It's killing me. AS3X and safe. Set up. We're in AS3X right now. Takeoff flaps deployed. Here goes nothing. Look at those beautiful strobes. Okay, here we go. Oh, did it just squat a little? Because that's full rudder. See, that's full rudder. Look at it. It's still going this way. That's full rudder the other way. Okay, so first problem, not enough yaw authority, obviously, because throttle cuts on, because this thing is not steering for me. Kind of a big problem. Now I'm gonna try it again. Throttle cuts off, takeoff flaps deployed. Yeah, there's just not much there. Get that tail wheel up and she's flying. Wow. Looks good. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's gorgeous. Guys, she's ready to go. A little bit less on the gains. The rudder's working effectively in the air. Lots of power, sweet. Oh yeah. Okay, so I gotta say, the thing looks and feels fantastic. Takeoff flaps right now are still deployed. And I bet that thing would be great for grass ops, folks. Out of the flaps. Let's see how we get for performance. Wow, it's moving quick. Do you hear it scream? Mm-hmm. Oh. I want to see if I can get that for the audience. I doubt they'll hear it. Out of the throttle. I don't know if they're going to hear it.
I don't know if they will either.
Way too little rudder authority, but man, that looks good in the sky. There's rudder. I got enough to coordinate that turn. So if you guys haven't ever heard of Kavan, don't feel like you're weirdo, because we hadn't. It's a European-based company. They're pretty big over in Europe. And so if you buy one of these planes, you'll be buying it from one of the very few North American distributors, the only one that we know about so far. Mm-hmm. So very excited to be working with FPV Builds. He has a small little YouTube channel. He does a little podcast, which is pretty cool. And he is currently distributing these products in North America. Full landing flaps here. Man, our mix is perfect for the elevator correction. It doesn't even balloon even remotely. And look at that thing slow down. Absolutely delectable. I am really disappointed in the rudder authority. Disappointed in the way the wing struts went on. Disappointed in one of the servos on the flaps. We had one that was not working well in full deployment. Those lights take away some of my disappointment, because good Lord, look at how beautiful really it is. Nice. Also, the wing struts themselves, we are gonna keep an eye on it, because our contact told us they were kind of working on trying to improve a few things. That was one of them. We had trouble getting our pins in, and then that led to kind of janking out the mounts on the inside, but I just left the glue. It's almost like the glue wasn't maybe totally set up. Maybe it's an early sample issue. But either way, I gotta say, I love the plane. The woes of building were not really like that bad. It's got decent roll rate for being a very long, slender, winged plane. I do feel like there's a little bit of bounce. I think it's just a slight overcorrection on AS3X, I assume. Takeoff flaps make the thing fly absolutely fantastically. We do have sort of upset air. So the little bit of wind we're getting is quite confused, right? So there's just barely any of it, and it's just not really a factor, so it barely moves our windsock. Keep in mind, our windsock is actually a kite tail, okay? Oh man, I wanted to do a touch and go so bad, but I didn't do it. I'm gonna try it here, guys. We'll slow it way down, full landing flaps this time. It may end up just becoming a landing, so I just don't want to flip it over and break something. Oh, that was a delectable landing. Okay, guys, biggest problem I have with this plane, A, not enough rudder authority. My tail wheel barely works, so I gotta get the nose up and then taxi it. So let's see if we can do that. Straight up.
Well,
absolutely no problems, guys. That's a still takeoff for you. Takeoff flaps now. And I gotta say, really easy to fly, very responsive, very slow feeding in rudder. Guys, look at this. I just gotta show you this. Full over on the rudder, okay? See that? All the way over. Now I'm gonna coordinate the other way. All the way over. See that? A little bit of counter. See a little bit of counter mix there. Now safe. There's safe for you guys. Okay, so we'll just fly it real quick and safe. If you guys are beginners and you want a plane to begin with, I probably wouldn't begin with this one, just for the simple fact that it's a little bit hard to build. And don't hate me, Anthony, but the truth is, there's a few steps I did not like, and I don't want somebody to have that bad taste in their mouth. So I'm hoping they can fix it before it becomes a problem. We set ours up on a 3200 4S, and it's got tons of power, guys. Yes, you can get floats. They are optional. They are extra. Out of safe now. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like without a stabilizer, okay? I'm out of the stabilizer now. So as you can see, it's definitely not quite as good at holding its heading. You can definitely tell it looks a little bit more wonk, but that should also give us a little bit more rudder authority. The other thing I could do is I could open up my rudder authorities on the Spectrum transmitter. As you can see, it's flying pretty good. It doesn't look quite as clean because obviously it's not gonna be hiding the wind as much, but I gotta say, in terms of like the controllability and everything, it does everything you want. Upside down performance is a little bit wonk because of the nature of the wing type. It's got that dihedral. Okay, back into AS3X now, I just feel a lot more comfortable with it. It looks a lot better. I think just turning up the output on that servo would make a big difference. I gotta see that? I can't kick the nose where I want. It takes so long to get that tail to move. So I gotta say, other than that, it's got very good roll authority. It seems to be pretty good on elevator authority. Big reinforced hinge on the rudder. And so I'm like super weirded out by the fact, oh, that is so good. Touch and go. Oh, yes, guys. I gotta say, I'm a sucker for general aviation, and I'm a sucker for small businesses trying to do new things that we have been asking for years for, and that would be Pilatus. Also, this company makes a couple of planes that you just haven't seen a lot of times, but it's not like getting a dynamo. Is there something hanging from the bottom? Look carefully.
Get some grass?
No. There is a cable.
Yep,
what the frick is going on that? I wanna go slow. Full landing flaps, a little bit of slip.
Yep.
Oh, it's my rudder. It's my rudder servo, guys. I stuck it down there. There's a big vent hole. That's my bad. Full disclosure, you want to probably tuck your cables a little better than I did. That is not a manufacturing defect. That is an installation defect. Next time we do that, we will ball them up and put a zip tie on them. Isn't that what you said you were going to do with me?
Yeah.
Oh man, that thing looks so good. I'm so excited. We have a new line of products that's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited. Oh yes. That was echo.
That was really echoey.
And I gotta say, this is the type of plane where you could actually fly it on 3S. Look at the power we've got, geez. Unlimited vertical. I'm actually afraid I'm gonna break the wings off. So that is one thing I wanna look at. That left wing, just look at it with me. Do we have anything coming out or is it good? No, I think we're good so far. Oh, by the way, once you get your pins in on the wings, you will have reamed the hole, so to speak. No, quite literally. Do you guys see what I just did there? I just hit the edge of the concrete and the spring-loaded landing gear, which I'm gonna get you guys a nice silhouette here. Beautiful spring-loaded landing gear, if I could get the nose over, are not broken. Look, beautiful. They are made of carbon fiber tubes, pretty thick, I might add, and you should see the wing joiner on this plane. Holy cow, it's thick. In a good way.
Speaking of things not being broken, I'm at almost 10 minutes of filming. Do you have a timer?
I do.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that I land?
No, I'm just
3,200 4S. This thing should go a lot longer than. Okay. I'm just hoping I get a good juicy warning of like, you're gonna run out of juice, so land now. I did notice the prop was maybe not super balanced. It looks like that left wing just makes me a little bit nervous. It looks like it's up just a hair. Is it in my head?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
You sure it's not bent just a little bit? I don't know, guys. I'm pretty impressed so far. I gotta say, my biggest issue is definitely with the rudder. And I wanna take this to the ground one time more. I'm gonna stuff my wire in the hole. Let's try a landing on the runway. How about that? Jeez. Guys, I gotta say, without a steerable tail wheel, that's kind of what you get, okay? So first thing I'm doing right now before we do anything else, click, go to servo setup, travel, rudder, 150%. Let's see if it goes. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. What the heck? Why is it not moved? Do they have like the wrong size servo in there? So problem number one, tail servo needs to be removed and replaced. Sucks. Problem number two, okay? And this is with all due respect to Calvin, whatever his name is, the Cavmeister. You want to tuck this in.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's just quite literally a cable that I tucked in a stupid spot. So guys, don't blame them, but you can blame me for that one. It's gonna pop back out. These are the pins we had problems with. Did I break my spring-loaded landing gear? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Doesn't look like it. Did this break? No. Oh yeah, I told you my left wing was goofy. He warned me that might happen. See what I'm talking about? So he was suggesting to me today that I pull that out and just re-glue it, okay? He wasn't trying to hide anything. He actually said he's glad we mentioned it. But you see that? Back in. Now, just to be clear, it didn't crash in a fireball because of it, but I would be pretty annoyed if that happened to me and I wasn't warned about it. So consider this a warning, folks. Throttle cut is on. Another complaint is that this paint sucks around here and the battery holder sucks even worse, okay? Those are a pretty good list of complaints, guys. This plane, for the cost, should have amazing rudder action. Look at the rudder. What the heck is going on with this?
It's like they just don't have the right
It's like a wrong servo. It's like they loaded one that has less degrees of movement than it should have. I really don't understand. Then we had an issue with this servo, okay? See? It's not down as far as the other one. Okay? But I gotta say, I can't feel it in the flight. So, okay. Problem number one, problem number two, problem number three, here and here and here and here and here, kind of all like in the same thing.
Yep.
Problem number four, here. Problem number five. That is a lot of problems. And you guys want to know something? I still like this plane because it's a Pilatus, and I gotta say the grass ops are fantastical. Yeah, and I'm just gonna say this right now, 7 minutes 55, we were down for about 2, blathering, throttle cuts off, take off flaps, get the tail wheel up like a real one and fly it. Look at that, guys. Hello. Woo! There it is. Man, I just really so badly want a rudder. It has a rudder, but it's kind of like a suggestion rudder. So guys, I gotta say, if you are brand new to the game of RC Aerosport, then I would suggest this is probably not the plane for you because of the nature of the problems. There's a few of them you're gonna have to fix. It's not a cheap model. Nobody is making any cover for FPV builds or for Kevin. What's his name?
Kavan.
Kavan, for Kavan. Because Kavan, it's like, hey, meet Kavan. Kavan's my friend. I like Kavan. It does make for a nice knife edge because the rudder just doesn't move much. It like locks you into the perfect, I love the lights, guys.
The lights are amazing.
And on floats, I gotta say, I might need some private time with this plane if I had floats. Just because it would be very good. And honey, you would forgive me, right?
You can, never mind.
That thing looks so good. Oh man, I love it. And here's the funny thing, guys. Here's the funny thing. He also sells Dynam. So
never
when we
thought
build
I'd see that day.
So when we build this, guys, you gotta remember. Oh, by the way, that wing strut, it's broke. But I'm still flying. The reason I'm flying is just so you understand. No, it's not again. I'm just saying it's still broke.
It's still broke, okay.
So my rationalization in flying is I want you guys to see this thing. I wanna be one of the first to come to the table with FPV builds and say, guys, When people go out on a limb to bring us what we want, which is more new, amazing planes, and pretty dang good ones, I gotta say, this is nothing like a Dynam. It flies great.
Yeah.
It feels great. It looks good if you don't look too close at the nose. And to be honest with you, that's an embarrassing mistake because...
Oh, because of the paint.
Because of the paint,
yeah.
Guys, okay? But man, it looks good. Man, it looks good. Imagine if it was on the water. By the way, the AS3X locked in, absolutely no problems. Okay, one thing I just really hate about this plane, throttle cuts on, wing strut popped out. Yep, not surprisingly, that would be our left wing, okay? So let's just talk about this. All in, that's 5 pretty obnoxious problems to have. And yet I still like this plane. I'm not saying all 5 of them aren't gonna hit you, but when you buy this, and I know you will, some of you guys are gonna want this thing, just understand you better budget for another tail servo. I got that stupid white glue on my hand. You better budget a little extra time and frustration on the wing struts. Just do it, you'll be fine. I would peel them out, use some isopropyl alcohol, clean that plastic off, use China glue, stick it in the hole, okay, you'll be fine. And this wing strut's never gonna pop off again. But I gotta say, as you can see, it does not, it's not a structural necessity in my opinion, since it's out. Right. The other thing I might do is I might take and run a drill through here and just like throw something in, because I'd rather pin it and have it there.
Well, at least the thing with the wing, with those pins, once you do it, you aren't gonna have to do it again.
No, but
the other stuff,
it's also in an airframe that's solid, guys. Here's the thing. If you get a Dynam, okay, and I'm not saying that Dynams are all garbage, but I'm gonna just tell you, we had very bad experiences. And yes, we are gonna build another 260, what am I trying to say?
ME262.
ME262.
V whatever.
473.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try it. We're gonna see how terrible it is again, okay? It's probably gonna be terrible. But it was a good flying plane, so we're gonna see if we like it. This is nothing like that. This plane is on the other end of the spectrum. It just happens to have a few problems. We bring you problems, but we also want you to understand when there's small family businesses that are doing things that we like. Like hobbies don't. Used to be. You guys remember Dan? Yeah, I do too. We do. They did a good job.
Very much.
You wanna know what happens when influencers, we're influencers. And even if you don't like it, we're influencers. Even if I don't like it, we're influencers. When they do a good job, it helps us to find success together, mutually, and with you, and with them, and with everybody. It's this big, beautiful cycle of wins. So, help them win, help reward them. Remember, if there's nobody putting pressure on the big boys, and you know who I'm talking about, there's never gonna be any incentive to keep the good stuff coming, okay? If I need to spell it out for you, send me an email. The truth is, this is a really well done plane. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Are there some pretty big problems? They're not really that big of problems, but they are not nothing. And I'm not gonna cover for Kavan or Kevin or Calvin, okay? None of those guys, girls, whatever they are. But I am gonna point out how awesome this plane is. Even if you have to fix all that crap, it's still awesome. Guys, I have flown them all. I know from experience, okay? Does that thing not look sweet?
It does look sweet.
Ultra bright LEDs. I'm just gonna tell you this, when this tucks down over the tree line, I'm like, somebody thought of it. LEDs, wow. Look how much we can overlook as consumers of a beautiful product when they do the things we ask. Now, this could use some soft tires too, but guess what? I hit the freaking edge of the concrete.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And it didn't break. That's amazing. I thought for sure I was gonna be like, great, now I gotta fix all the mounts, which by the way, I talked a lot about that in the Unboxed Build radio setup. And yes, I did get pretty annoyed. So when you watch, you'll enjoy, okay? And yes, I did talk to Anthony, and I talked to him and I said, hey, these are our findings. And he said, thank you for giving me good feedback. He said, I'm gonna take that straight to the manufacturer and we're gonna work on those things. And he's like, to be honest, We knew about the wing struts. I just wanted to see if you were gonna have the same problem, and you did. So, they're being very responsive right now. We wanna reward responsive, respectable companies. Companies that like say, hey, we know there's this problem with this product, but let's address it. And that's what they're doing. We respect that. What do we not respect? We don't respect when companies try to sell the wrong plane to the wrong person just to make a quick buck. And guess what? You're killing your future customer, you idiots. We love this hobby too much to watch it be driven into the ground by a bunch of jack-whos that don't know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna help you guys, okay? I rarely say that, but I do. I know what it's like to be a bad pilot and still want good planes, all right? I know what it's like to be a slightly better pilot and to want good planes. And I know what it's like to be a pretty experienced pilot and want good planes. I know what it's like to be let down. I know what it's like to get garbage. And I know what it's like to try to sell stuff that isn't good. We rarely do it, but the truth is occasionally we have stuff that we would like you guys to experience with us. And they're not perfect. This thing isn't perfect. It is very good though. When I hold this plane, it feels solid. When I hold this plane, it looks good. Mm-hmm. It's got scale lines that I like. From a distance, it looks beautiful. Up close, it looks beautiful. It goes together pretty good. Like I said, the wing strut, not a big deal. The mounts, whatever. They'll get that worked out. It's not that big a deal. Somebody probably mixed their epoxy wrong, okay? I forgive them. I love the plane. Thank you for making it. Remember, guys, we want planes, and we want more planes. We don't want companies going out of business because we're like, oh man, that one was too green. I wanted greener. Because that's what we do sometimes in this hobby. And you got to remember something. If you got a couple $100,000 to blow, and I'm not exaggerating, let's say $275,000. You want to blow that money? All you got to do is just spend about 60 grand on a mold set, and they'll help you design it, okay? And then you can spend about $150,000 on the first batch, which will be like a third of a container. And then you spend about probably $9,000 on LCL container shipping. You can bring that into North America and you can sell it, and I'll help you sell those things. And I'm gonna tell everybody every mistake that you made. And I'm gonna still encourage them to buy your stuff if it's any good. Mm-hmm. This is good. We're truthful, we're honest, we're forthright, and we're not soft. We know what we want, and we're gonna help you guys get what you need. Okay? What you need is a good airframe. What you don't need is a clip that's perfect, okay? A clip can be fixed, a thing can be put back in and glued. No big deal, it's not an issue, okay? Did I miss anything? Was there any stone left unturned in that commentary?
I don't think so. I mean, he wanted us to share our findings, and that's what we do.
He told me, I want you to be brutal. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, we kind of are just truthful all the time, but I think he really, really stressed it. I think part of it is he's trying to drive factory responsiveness. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, when you're a first North American distributor, okay, which when we brought in our hay equipment to take this hay right here and we started making those little mini round bales, mm-hmm. I was working with that manufacturer in India, okay? And we were going to bring those things into America and we were going to distribute them, okay? We were going to do that. And we didn't for reasons. It's still very good equipment, but I didn't have $2 million sitting there. Just to sideline, okay? I didn't. It would have been terrible timing, and I didn't want to sit on inventory like that. That would have been an incredible investment for our family. We probably would have lost millions. All of them, okay? This is what happens when people are really believing something, they put retirement accounts on the line. That's what people do. Real people, just like you. No, those are rich people. No, they're real people that have day jobs that go and work for them, and they take a little bit and they put it in a little pile over here and they give it to an investment guy, and then later that pile gets a little bigger and they're like, okay, I need to do something with this. I'm gonna buy RC planes, and then their wife murders them. If you're looking for a safe haven.
To make it look like an accident.
You can come to our house.
But we want to reward and encourage the small companies that are listening and aren't just like finding a mold in the basement from 5 years ago.
We're not trying to beat up on big guys either.
No.
But we want to keep them accountable, because even though we work with the big boys, we work with all the rest of them too.
Yeah.
And we're very serious about this hobby. We're very seriously invested in this hobby. Remember, we don't just make a couple of shorts a week and then say, wow, unboxed, this is what it is. No, we're going step by step by step from unbox into the air, and then this is what went wrong. This is how I'm frustrated. This is how it impacted our lives, and we're gonna take you all the way along the way. Some of you don't want that, we get it. We're probably not for you, but we still want your patronage. So just fast forward a lot, like for 3/4 of the video.
Find what you need and watch that part.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when you find what you need, it's probably gonna be something like this. Now, I'm not saying everybody is gonna be like, oh yeah, get rid of my E-flights. I'm just gonna get Kavan from now. Kevin, whatever that guy's name is, I'm gonna get it. Okay, that's not realistic, okay? We're just saying, listen, another option on the table is not a problem. Even if you got a couple of loose ends to tidy up, no big deal. It's not like we never had a plane from E-flight or FMS that had that little issue up on the nose. It's not like we ever had another plane, call them all, that was made by FMS for E-flight and by FMS for FMS. They got all torn up front, that overheated your batteries and practically caused them to catch on fire, called them all. I like them all.
Yeah.
But it's imperfect, guys. That's the key. We're here to help you disseminate to the world the truth of hobby, okay? Because it's very easy for a marketing agency to say, ooh, fastest, bestest, cheapest. In fact, we've got a release that's coming to us right now. And I just found out today, they got, I can't say this out loud, so I can't say it. Let's just say they have that many of them to sell. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
They
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm like, China, you need to start acting like Americans sometimes. Because we care about our audience and want you guys to have the best. And part of that is us going before the manufacturers and saying, what are you doing? And we do it all the time, and we get a squeaky wheel status because we do it. We try to do it in a fair way, but it is so hard. Sometimes they make it hard.
And you have to remember, it's all made in China.
I don't even think this is.
I don't know if this is.
This stuff is made somewhere else.
But if you buy this through our links, you're supporting our family. You're supporting a dude in New York.
No, it's not a dude. It's a family.
Well, a family.
Come over here.
And if you lighting, it's getting weird. Even if you buy stuff from these guys, you're supporting families that live in Illinois.
And I gotta say, they have some pretty spectacular planes. This is a licensed copy of the real plane. That means that when Pilatus makes a plane and they spend a lot of money on engineering, you're helping to support them. I'm not saying it's always gotta be that way, but the truth is, you're not just going below board. Like a lot of stuff from China comes out that way. I'm trying to beat anybody over the head. Some of these things are kind of like, okay, it should be open source. It's been around for 20 years. But this thing is licensed. The next one we're doing is licensed. It's coming in a few more weeks. We're super excited.
Yeah,
can't wait to share it. But this plane is awesome. I think you guys are gonna really like it. Like I said, I wanna work out some of the issues. Maybe we'll have a second thoughts where we got some floats going on it, because we do have an awesome pond, but I'm not flying this thing with floats the way it is. I can't turn it on the ground, let alone in the water. And you need a lot of rudder authority when you're flying off of water, okay? It's hard enough without thrust reverse, and there is no thrust reverse. That's a bit of a downer too. You could add an Avian ESC in about 10 minutes on this thing, and you're up and running. You got plenty of channels. We didn't even put AS3X Plus on this. I don't even know why to do it still. By the way, I'm gonna use this light to just light up the subject. Me.
You.
So guys, at the end of the day, we're here to support the hobby. We're here to support you. We're here to support the people that help bring this hobby to us and come full circle. And at the end of the day, we love this hobby. We love our audience. And we love to see success within the industry, okay? This is a success story, even if it's imperfect. Get one. It's in the links. If you want to compare and contrast this to competitive offerings, we don't blame you. If you think it's a little too expensive, we understand. Just keep in mind it's being imported a little bit more than some of the other companies. You're going to bear some of that cost, okay? Remember, you're not bringing in 1,000 of these units to sell, okay? It's not Horizon. It's not FMS, okay? So just remember, take one for the team once in a while. I'm not saying you got to do it every time you buy a plane because it's going to really kind of blow your budget if you do it every time. I get it. There's only going to be limited offerings right now. If things go well, it will help drive the cost down. I know it. It will. We want it to happen. Plus, it keeps a little bit of pressure on the big guys to keep putting out good stuff, okay? What do the big guys do when something starts selling good? They make one. This thing's really well done, minus the 5 things that aren't well done. So, awesome plane. Thanks for having us involved, FPV Builds. Guys, listen, we're loyal to a fault, but we're loyal to you first, okay? We're loyal to our family first. The guys that sell these things, we do care about them. But the thing is, especially when they're small companies, we talk about it once in a while, mom and pop shot stuff. We've only done it a handful of times because they don't exist. A lot of times they can't afford to pay people like us, okay? But we want to be here to support them too because some of this stuff is awesome, okay? All right, that's all we got for you tonight. It's getting dark. We got to get back to what we were doing. And truth is, we hope you enjoyed this video. We hope you enjoy the transparency because I'm telling you what, it's not free. It costs us. There are companies that don't want to work with people that are transparent. Like Motion RC. Okay? Motion, if you're listening, why are you sitting on the sidelines? Get off crap or get off the pot. Okay? Thank you to the people that do work with us. We bring the truth to people buying planes so that when they buy them from you, they're not all pissed off and bent out of shape because the stupid thing popped out. They just fix it and move on. That's what really happens, okay? Because you're dealing with a bunch of adult men that know how to fix stuff. And then like 10% of us are women and kids. Everybody else is adult men, okay? We know what it's like to fix stuff. It's fine. It's part of our life. It's what we do for a living and for our families. All right, lots of truth today. All right, guys, beat me up in the comments if you like. Truth is, we're straight and narrow, and truth is not cheap. We're gonna bring it to you just like we always have. There's some opinions wrapped in there, no doubt. But at the end of the day, the truth is truth. Somebody else reviews this, they're gonna give you the same bag of tricks. They might not have as big an issue here, they might have an issue somewhere else, but that's a pretty good list and you're gonna have to work it into your consideration when you do consider this. Guys, check out the links down below if you wanna support us in other ways or you just wanna compare and contrast this up against one of the other competitive offerings. We have like over 2,000 videos now. Check out brianphillipsrc.com or you can go to bprc.me if you don't want to spell out the rest of it. It's the same exact place, just a short link. It's going to get you to our channel. Basically, you can scroll and sort by type, manufacturer, brand, like this would be a brand, okay? You can sort by Kavan, Calvin, whatever it is. And we'll have it there. And you can put that right up against something else you want to see, okay? All right, leave your questions and comments down below. If you want to support us but you don't want this plane or you just can't stomach the idea of having to fix a rudder servo, then you want to support us in other ways. We got Patreon, monthly support, YouTube super thanks, one-time donations through PayPal, and then YouTube super thanks. YouTube members. So thanks if you're one of our members. We try to throw out a little bit of content here and there just so you guys get something special. We had some early content that we released with Andrew flying the other day on the Extra 300, really fun. We're gonna try to wrap some of that stuff up for you guys with a nice little bow. And then every once in a while, we're trying to sell and liquidate some equipment, not necessarily this because it's brand new and we love it, it's awesome. We got some more work to do with it. But as you know, we are in the process of doing some construction, so we're like limited on space. If you're interested, hit us up in the email. There's in the About tab. It's not an About tab anymore. You have like go to our channel and click on our like icon or something. It says like more, right? Yeah, it says more now. I think so. I don't know. YouTube loves changing things at work. Yeah. So then you can find the email there and it's going to do like a catch or whatever. And then you'll get the email and you can send us a message. So, but if not that, guys, this plane is sweet. I think you're going to like it. Seriously, the problems are real, but they're overcomable. It's not like Dynamo overcomable where it's like you're going to hate your life while you build it. Or like that Cessna 182 that we just did for arrows the other day. That thing was freaking terrible. And yet it flies great and it's a great plane now that it's all put together. Okay? It's not like that. This is much closer to the 182 from FMS that went together really good. Yeah. Which, by the way, that plane is very good too. Yeah, it is. Okay? All right. That's all we got for you. Brian Phillips, RC, signing out for tonight. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. There is literally so much more right around the corner. And if you think this is great, stay tuned. For real, there's more. It's sitting in my office right now. All right, YouTube. We flew last night with this Pilatus PC-6, and I really liked it. But I had no rudder authority, and I dug into it. And I also had issues with up here with this paint chipping. So I just wanted to show you what I've done so far. I did several different mods. We also had problems with the wing struts. So I just used regular electrical tape. It was super easy. I took and peeled this off and cut it. I even covered up that little pocket because I didn't like the way that looked. And plus this gives me a little bit better access. And I noticed that when I loaded my battery, I was almost nervous about hitting the edges. So that worked really sharp. So you may end up ultimately wanting to cover this too. And then that vinyl tape will actually hold this in with a little pressure fit in addition to your magnetic touch. Now, when we're done with the other overviews, I'm probably gonna try to balance the prop too, and I'll show you how I'm gonna do that next. Not next, but we're gonna come back to that. The wing struts I pulled out. They were already popped out in that flight, in our maiden flight. They were sort of popped out in our unbox build radio setup. I cleaned them off using isopropyl alcohol, and I stuck them into the T socket, cleaned them out really good, let it dry for a few minutes, and then I China glued it with FMS China glue is what I happen to use, and my tube popped. I hate it when I pop my tube on camera. So anyway, that was awkward. It's been sitting for about like 7 hours now, setting up. I think it's gonna be totally fine. And then my last thing that I really wanted to fix beyond balancing the prop, which we'll show you how to do that next, is this rudder, okay? When I was moving it outside, I was getting maybe that much and that much. It never moved more. So I said, you know what? I've never exercised the rudder. So I took that thing off and watch this. Full deflection cracked the seam of the foam. The foam was thick. There's an embedded hinge, top and bottom. So that's ugly, but it broke free. So now I'm super excited because that's really what I need on this plane. And so look, I'm just gonna take this red marker and just run up and down the seam, only on this side. The other side, it did fine, okay? But look, that's just gonna make that disappear. Should be no problem. Of course, you could take your time and do it a little bit nicer, or maybe use a thicker marker. But as you can see, that now is totally cleared up. Look on the other side with me. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-land this in the outside hole now because we have absolutely tons of throw.
Yeah, because as soon as you unclipped it, you're like, look how much the
servo moves. Look how much the servo moves. I was like, that is not right. That means, and I was like, there's gotta be something wrong here mechanically. So, because that was our biggest complaint on this plane. It was the only thing I couldn't fix without a new servo, that and the potential for this flap causing a problem. It actually didn't cause a problem in the air, but it obviously has a problem, okay? So, Kevin, watch this, guys. Get ready, get ready. This is the Maiden view, okay? Oh yeah, look at that. Now I gotta say, it's going further that way than it is this way.
You're hitting
what am I hitting?
To the left. You're hitting the foam to the left.
Oh, I'm hitting the foam?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, that's free and that's hitting. So you know what we're gonna do? So now show them from above. Look, there's two ways we can do this. One, we can mitigate the trim so that we go back down below sub 150 and 150, but I'm gonna do it the more extraordinary way, which is to trim the foam. Because you did put it, it's gonna be white though underneath. I don't care. Okay. I could care less.
Because you put your throws up to 150 last night, right?
Yeah. So watch this, guys. Just take your X-Acto knife and trim at an angle. Remember, you gotta cut it at a steep enough angle that that pops out, okay? Now, once that pops out, camera crew is right. It's gonna be white. Camera crew, can you get that with your nails? And then check this out. All I'm gonna do is I'm quite literally gonna take a marker. This time I've got a shorty that's in better shape.
If that's enough, bro?
It's enough. Yep, it's free now. So now I can touch up the red. Again, it's just enough. You're never gonna know, except I filmed it for the world to see.
Do you need to save this?
What?
In your garbage foam collection.
Let me see that. Here, just throw it into the garbage can right there next to the other. Yeah. Oh, shoot, it's right in there with the other foam. Great. Okay. So now I just want to point out, look at this. Look at this. Look at the movement. Go to the top. Better. Full left, full right. There's still quite a bit more right, it feels like. That would be, Yeah, it might be similar. We'll see. But it could also be that I also needed this to be tightened. And so I took my 1.5 millimeter driver and I literally just crammed it in here and just torqued the heck out of this. And so when I did that, I mean, I went crazy. So I'm probably gonna have a hard time. It's likely to be stripped if I'm not careful. So now I have yaw authority on the plane, both on the ground and in the air, which was a huge fail on this thing. Now we fixed the nose, we fixed the wing struts, and we fixed the rudder, the primary 3 issues. Now, we ended our flight with about, we had maybe 17 or 18 minutes of actual flight time. And I think we had about like 6 or 7% left on the battery by the time it came in. A lot of talking. I had it running for 35 minutes screwing with stuff. So it was probably not everything. It wasn't a good representation of being spent, okay? But let's say 17, 18 minutes is a long time. Throttle cuts off, be careful. Vibration, that's 50% throttle, throttle cuts on. So now, I wouldn't use vinyl tape for something like this. The easiest way I found to balance a prop, now this is not the easiest way, or excuse me, the correct way. It's just an easy way that people can do without having a lot of specialty tools. You don't need a lot of specialty tools to do it right, but you have to take this off and you have to have a prop balancer. A lot of you guys may not have prop balancers. So I'm gonna show you the trick of the day, okay? So the way I usually do this is I will take off just a little piece of clear, and you see it's about like this long, okay? Because it doesn't show up on camera worth a darn, okay? And then this prop is sweeped on the top and the bottom, okay? So what I like to do is I'd like to go, just wrap it barely ever so slightly. You're gonna have to go to the side where I'm doing it, okay? I push it down and then I roll the edges. And you're like, but you don't know where you need that, Brian. It's just a total guess, okay? Now I'm gonna go throttle cut off. I got totally lucky. That was where I needed it. It's not vibrating anymore.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna show you guys. Like, if I got it wrong, I just go to the next one until I get ready. Throttle cuts off. I didn't have a secure hold. There's still some movement. Okay, so that's my A comparison. I take the same piece of tape, preferably. You don't need to get any closer. You can just stay back where you were. Okay, so that's A to B. Remember, just always go the same direction. Okay, camera crew is gonna keep me accountable. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be close so that you don't induce too much additional drag in one condition versus the other. So A compared to B, throttle cuts off. Actually feels pretty, that was better than A.
I think so.
That was better than A. So now, so B, okay? And then we're gonna go to C. And basically, because there's 3 blades, you have to move this tape around. Make sure you're using and exercising care with your throttle cut. Okay, so here's the 3rd one. And remember, if you go too far out, you're gonna change the weight that's being applied, because it's like a lever arm, okay? The further out, the more impact you're gonna have. And if it's barely in it, you can put it inside the spinner also, and then it flings to the outside, okay? Way bad. That was the worst. So B is the best one. B is the best. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna go half the size of what we have, roughly. You want the smallest impact possible and still the equal result, okay? So there it is now. On this one, I'm gonna go ahead and just assume it might be perfect. There's 1 cut, there's 2 cuts. See, the cuts help me to fold this neatly, and then you can overlap them as necessary. And so now that I've got that applied, I can take this back off of C, go back to B. And you're like, how do you know ABC? I just, whatever I grab first is what it is. Yeah. So now we know we're on B just by memory. And then there's a piece of tape, but evidently the cam crew has moved the tape that I put on the side of the counter. Okay, throttle cuts off. I'm gonna hold and secure the plane. A lot of vibration at the low end. Throttle cuts back on. I'm gonna go ahead and add a 2nd piece of tape right over the top. So remember, it can be any of those sizes you want. You can do it as small or as big as you want. And it really doesn't matter. It's just however you want it to go. Now, if this is too big, if this is too heavy, then you're gonna know immediately because it's not gonna work, okay? It's gonna make it worse. So every time you do this, it's a basis of comparison from the first test to the second test and the third test to the fourth and so on and so forth. So each of these pedals gets folded back separately, okay? And then that gets applied. Are you showing them so they can see? Mm-hmm. Okay. So now, and I can get all this crap out of the way. Those scissors are all you're gonna need. And the marker is from previous steps. So at the end of the day, we're gonna see if this now balances out. Throttle cuts off. That sounds pretty awesome.
That's a lot better.
I don't hear nothing. I don't feel nothing. Now, if it's worth doing.
It's worth overdoing.
Exactly. So, go to the prop that was out of balance. Now, because this is 3-bladed prop, some of you are thinking, don't add weight, remove weight. Well, which one are you gonna remove it from? It's a lot harder on a 3-bladed prop, folks. So I'm gonna add this with the understanding there's a good chance it's coming back off. So this one, I'm just gonna be careful the way I cut this one because it may need to be peeled off because if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. This one might be overdoing it. That's 3 pieces of tape. That's a lot of tape, okay?
Yep.
So holding the plane, throttle cut is off. That is so good now.
You didn't overdo it.
I'm not touching
like
it.
The first time
I'm not even gonna overdo it. It's the first time in history. Now show people the back of this prop. I just want you guys to understand, if you balance a prop, you're gonna get more performance, you're gonna get a longer flight time, you're gonna get a cool motor, and you're gonna get better performance all at the same time. I mean, it's like quite literally all of it. So it's really windy outside, but it wasn't windy earlier, and so sometimes this happens. The good news is, I now have a rudder.
Right. That was huge.
I cannot believe how big of an improvement we're gonna get in this plane. It's probably gonna go from 0 to hero. And when I say 0, I mean, it's gonna go from like 85% to like a 95% on my I like it meter. And I'm not just saying that because I wanna help support Kavan in the woods. It's one of those things.
You're never gonna remember.
Kavan? Yeah, it's Kavan, that's what it is. So we'll help Kelvin right now. We're gonna go out, we're gonna fly it. We already have a few minutes of flight time, so we're just gonna fly it. We set a 12-minute timer. Not sure if this is gonna be in order, because to be honest, we don't like to show planes anything less than at least par performance lighting, okay? If we show a plane in really rough circumstances because I make a mistake as a builder or as a lesser skilled pilot, like a 3D pilot, then of course I'm gonna point out the fact that I'm not a 3D pilot, okay? Because there are times when as a 3D pilot, you can do crazy things. This plane is practically a 3D plane. I'm just gonna say that. In terms of ups, in terms of performance, very happy. You could probably plop a 3S pack in there and guess what? You could probably turn that flat and then make it sit in there. But I've been really happy with the way it goes in. It's actually not too bad. Now that I'm getting used to the fact that I have to cram that wedge in there, which is ridiculous, it actually isn't that bad to load. So.
Well, now you protected the edges too, because you're being super careful to not screw up the paint.
Yeah. I don't understand why it's so windy. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna fly this thing in less than stellar performance or less than stellar conditions, because we tried to go to an air show today and they literally, after waiting hours to get on a shuttle that's mandatory, they said no. And we watched tens of thousands of people walk away throughout the wait. And at the end, there was lines that wiggled for thousands of feet. I mean, there was like, probably 6,000 to 7,000 people that just said, bye, I guess we're leaving.
Yeah.
So we went and found a ditch somewhere and parked and watched. But it was still, I mean, we still got the F-16 to fly over, which is pretty cool. But I mean, I've never been involved in such a stupid circumstance, such a mismanaged situation, except for I live in America, so it happens all the time. No, this was just ridiculous. Because I've been to this Offutt Air Show a few times throughout my life, maybe 5 or 6 times. And the last time we went was 2018. It was a really good experience. Enjoyed it thoroughly. Still had to ride the stupid shuttles. It was still terrible leaving because you had to wait to get back on the same shuttles that brought you. But the thing that was so infuriating is that as they were kicking us out, there was buses coming. We watched a grand total of like 10 buses in 2 hours plus load and take people. That's how slow they were.
Yeah.
And it's like a 7-minute round trip. So I had no idea what they were doing. We drove by one of the buses sitting at a barbecue joint, sitting there when we left. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, it was a pretty frustrating experience. Thank God we got to see some F-16s, but we were supposed to be getting deafened by them. We weren't.
It only happened like once. It was a bummer.
So we're gonna see how this thing does. Sorry to drag you through the dirt with that, but the truth is when you love aviation, you make sacrifices. So 5 hours of round trip travel plus for our family with 4 kids in the car, you know, eat lunch, going to the bathroom and the rest stops, all those things that you do when you bring kids around. We did all that. And then we sat there and we weren't just like, you know, on the gnat's tail. I mean, we were hours and hours and hours early from when the cutoff times were. And there was thousands of people that came, thousands of people that quit and gave up. There were thousands of people that were redirected to ours. The cops kicked them out of Northern Grummet where they were supposed to park. And they said, go where we were. And then they didn't even let them on the bus there.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Completely mismanaged, insanity. Never been through it before. Probably never gonna go again.
It's almost like the government was in charge or something.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out and fly. Just had to add those 2 seconds worth of update. If you're part of Brian Phillips, if you're part of the family here on Brian Phillips RC, if you wanna call it family, whatever you wanna call it, it's RC extravaganza. We mentioned that we were gonna go to the event. So my camera crew, hold still, had the shirt on.
Yep.
And all the kids had the shirts on. We literally drove across the entire state to get there. And we also told you guys that we were gonna be there. So we technically were there, just not in the gates.
We're just like across the cornfield.
Yeah, on the other side. Like in the crash zone, like where they go if there's a problem, they just like crash a plane. That's what I told people. I was like, yeah, if they crash, they'll come over here and do it. So pretty frustrating. And also, you know, I feel like my word is worth something, and I take it very seriously. So if I obviously didn't intentionally wrong anybody here, and so we hope you'll give us some grace on that. So if you were coming to see us, which I'm assuming there was all like 17 of you, so
17
would be good.
I was gonna say,
well, all 17 of you. This has been like whole families.
Okay.
So all 17 of you, we're sorry we weren't there. We technically were. Maybe you were waiting in the same line that got kicked out.
Yeah.
So, but also there was an agent of the state that came to us. His name was Fuller. It said Fuller on his uniform, and he said, "You guys are about the time for the cutout." And I said, I understand. We're willing to risk it, but just keep in mind there's gonna be 1,000 people that get out of line. And he was right. And there was thousands. But we did get an F-18 to fly right overhead. We had the C-17 fly right overhead. We had the CK-135 fly right over, and I'm talking like right overhead. We were right here. There was a building. We're at some university of Bellevue University. Parked. And anyway, so beautiful facility, by the way. Yeah. And we had some nice shade from the building. And then the F-18 was flying over. Thankfully, it was on this side of the building, so we got to see it. And we were sandwiched. It was super loud and awesome. And in a Navy livery, which is pretty cool, instead of some like weird like show livery. It was like a real killing machine. Yeah, real one or whatever. So super cool experience, even though it was imperfect. Got to hang out with the family, but we did tell you guys we'd be there. We kind of were, so we didn't want to let people down. Yeah. Full explanation in the future when we figure out what happened.
Still windy.
So we're gonna go fly right now. So stay tuned. Brian Phillips RC. We try to stay true to our word, and that was a reason for that explanation. We care about what we say, and if we make a mistake, we want to catch it. Like with this rudder, I don't even necessarily want to call that a mistake because I didn't exercise that for a reason. It was already landed. This connection was already made.
You're right. We didn't hook that
So we never had an opportunity or a reason to exercise that. So we will be passing that along to Anthony at FPV Builds so that he is aware of it. And so if you order this, the Kavan Pilatus PC-9, PC-6, this is a PC-6, then you'll want to do that as well. So stay tuned, flight coming. And so we realize you're probably seeing this video at the end, so we just wanted you to have a quick overview of the things that we did. You're probably seeing these flights a little bit out of order because I was super excited. We had an extremely tight window for flights with the sunset flights. You probably saw that. And then you're seeing this. So you're seeing them out of order. But whatever the best flight circumstances are, we're gonna try to show that at the beginning. And if that was the sunset, then that's what you saw. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we try to show as much of it as we can without making for, you know, a long video. Just kidding, we don't worry. We don't care how long it is.
No.
If you guys watch 5% of the video, it just hurts our statistics and they slowly try to degrade the performance of our channel until it goes away. Well, joke's on them. So 2010 videos, I think we have one 10-hour video.
Only one?
If you guys want a snooze fest, 10 hours? Are you kidding me? That's like 500. That's like 500 gigabytes. It's like half the size of a hard drive.
I know they're building whole data centers just for us.
Just for Brian Phillips RC.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. So much more to come. We just wanted to remind you, if this is the end of the video, we appreciate you. We want to give explanations when we know. You know, we don't always know. Sometimes we don't ever know about these things until like a few months later or weeks later, or like after Horizon finally gets back to us, or FMS maybe gets back to us some year. About weird technical questions we might have during our unbox build radio setup, but we do instill as much of the evidence of the truths that we find and derive from testing to you live and in person. And by the way, I just want to show you this 0 clicks of trim. That's after our Virgin Maiden flight. This will be our second flight, obviously. And with a rudder that actually works now, it's going to be pretty exciting. And I got to say, getting that thing on the mains and then flying, it's so cool. Can't wait to fly it again. Hopefully Mother Nature's not gonna totally smack me down.
Again.
But she might, and if she does, we'll pick a better day and we'll get this flight. So guys, if you wanna support us and you don't wanna buy this Kavan PC-6 from Pilatus, this is a licensed product, by the way, then it's Kavan, okay? All right? Kavan. It's Kelvin, okay? It's Kevin. You can buy it from the links in the video description below. One of the best ways to support us, buy the batteries that we have linked, transmitters, the receiver in this case, we use the AR631. You could use 637T and you would get telemetry, you get battery feedback, but just keep in mind when you do that on this plane, you're gonna be janking around that cable in a pretty tight spot. You might also wanna consider getting an Avian ESC so you can throw thrust reverse on here. So when you are up against weeds and reeds, you can back out of it on the water because there are optional floats. And yes, we are gonna do optional floats at some point. Don't know when that's gonna come out, but we will be getting those hopefully mid-September. If you wanna support us in other ways than that, you can check out brianphillipsrc.com, that's our domain, or you can go to bprc.me, that's our short domain for the long word if you don't like spelling. Same place, same content. It's gonna help you sort by type, by plane, by manufacturer, by distributor. And so in this case, if we've got other stuff from FEV builds, you can find them there as well. Did you add that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if you don't want to do that and you don't want to find a competitive plane you'd like to buy instead, or review or evaluate or whatever, and watch the videos about them, YouTube super thanks, one-time donations, YouTube membership monthly, Patreon monthly, and then PayPal, friends and family for one-time donations. The cheapest of which in terms of fee structure for us, which means it just ekes away whatever you've gifted us, would be the friends and family on PayPal, be the cheapest. There's fee structures, runs about like 15 to 25% on Patreon, depending on where you are in the world. If you're overseas, it's a little bit higher because there's other taxes involved. And then like exchange fees.
Yep.
Then YouTube, super thanks. They keep 30, and YouTube members, they keep 30. That's right. Google keeps 30% of your money because you earned it.
They're really hurting. Google is just...
They're tight on
They're
coin.
really tightening the
So
belt.
if you guys throw us, I'm gonna do some math on camera. We don't do this usually.
Okay.
If you send $10 for monthly support, that means we get 7, okay? And then we pay taxes on that so that they can abandon us.
Send it to Google.
So they can abandon us.
In the parking lot at the air show.
At the air show. Blow it out your tailpipe. That is an F-16. And lots of fireballs. Anyway, at least they could have dropped some flares. That would have been cool.
I still don't know why they couldn't have picked us up in a helicopter.
I think that'd be sweet. That would make it up. I would complain less if they would have picked us up in a helicopter.
Definitely.
So guys, remember, Kelvin is always getting made fun of, and his best friend, Kevin, hates it when I call Calvin Kevin. So buy one from the links. Enjoy your time in the air. Don't just watch us do it also. Do it with us. Because doing it by myself gets old. All right, stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching. YouTube, it's Roy Phillips. Look what we got here. Amazing. It's Kavan, not Kevin. Pilatus, PC-6. Beautiful, officially licensed. Beautiful strobes, bright lights, forward facing. You'll notice those in the flight. Beautiful, 3-bladed, detailed. I've done some modifications here to fix an issue. I did some modifications here to fix an issue. We will share that at the end of the video. We also did some modifications to fix a problem with the rudder. Now it works. Yes! Because even without a rudder, I was in love with this plane. Now that I have a rudder, I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be better. Also, I gotta say, working with small distributors, mom and pop shops, we love it when we get the opportunity. Take off flaps. Everything's ready to rock and roll. AS3X via an AR631, 3200 4S. Get it on a mains and fly it. Here we go. Look at that. Whoa. So as you can see, now that I have a rudder, I have to trim it. There's a lot of rudder movement there now. Even in the crazy wind, look at this. Mm-hmm. That windsock is like being dumb right now.
Yeah, it's confused.
So guys, look at the power. Just nothing. It's got no problems getting out of the hole. Look at this. Amazing. By the way, this plane comes out of the box, looks like it's gonna be a breeze to build, and then it tempts you. Whoa, that was crazy. Take off flaps. Man, that's a lot of rudder now. Okay, pausing our flight. I just want to talk about this for a moment. I turned up my throws on the servos to 150% because I didn't have any movement. We'll explain. If you watch the original unbox build radio setup, you understand exactly what we're talking about. And just to be clear, we changed our timer to 12 minutes on 3200. That's probably a little bit less than we need, but we did some setup on this flight, okay? It is much more confused winds. Takeoff flaps are set. Everything's ready to rock and roll. Back to 100 and 100 instead of 150, 150 on the rudder. Get it on the mains. Look at that. Oh, gorgeous. Watch that. Walking the cow. Is that what they say? Holy cow. Did you see that?
Is that the wind?
I think it's the wind.
The wind is kind of nuts right now.
It is nuts, guys. AS3X.
Look
at the wing.
Look how much it's getting.
Yeah, it is way windier than I thought it was. Take off flaps now.
I don't want to lose the plane over it.
I don't want to lose the plane over it either, but you got to fly in the wind sometimes. We got to show people how these things work, eh?
Okay.
Look at this, guys, going right around the house, turbulating the air. Guys, I love the way this plane flies. The wing flexes a little bit, but I kind of like the way it looks. It looks realistic. And I gotta say, Johnny on the spot with the lighting. Oh, jeez. Speaker blown, warning. Lower volume, please, drastically.
You're supposed to do that ahead of the...
I thought I was gonna be ahead of the gutter with my engine. So guys, I gotta say, super window. I gotta say, look at that wing bend, jeez. Hope it doesn't break in half. Trying to not like overly G-load this plane, like crash into my face hole. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed putting this plane together until it came to the clips on the wings. And I gotta say, the rudder is fantastic now. Tons of rudder, tons of authority, like more than you need. And yet, there will still be some. I'm gonna do some upside down sorties. Okay, so obviously upside down, we got plenty. There's a little bit of dihedral, so it kind of wonks around a little bit, but just using the rudder, we'll flip it around here and bring it back to planet Earth. Lots of turbulation over the top of those trees, you can see it. Also, I gotta say, this ESC does some weird stuff. It does that.
Yep.
It's because I think we have braking on takeoff flaps here. There must be a certain amount of braking. Oh man, that looks good. That little strip of light. Should I go get some more strips of light? Oh,
yeah.
Also, by the way, the visibility on this plane is awesome. I love it because you can almost always see an LED and strobe, a strobe, and then those two white lights. Oh my goodness, I think I just might need a personal moment here, camera crew. Lots of rudder, lots of rudder. Keep that thing into turn. Beautiful. Even in the crazy turbulation, turning up the stabilizer just a hair, I just realized I could do that. I hadn't thought about it. And I gotta do a couple of touch and wents. So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna go up and at them, and then we're gonna bring it, we're gonna bring it down. A little bit of takeoff flap, bring it around, nice little loop. And what I'm gonna do is now that I have a rudder, I can aim it down the runway. Very nice, and I'm gonna do grass hops. Yes! It is so good. The grass hops are awesome with this plane. But you know what's even cooler? Stall performance. Here we go. There it is. It dropped the tip exactly like Anthony would say. With full landing flaps, you want to take off with just takeoff flaps for your stall performance. And yes, of course, that's a little bit hyper performance. Full landing flaps here. Keep that thing flying, keep it flying, and then just bleed off your inertia and just put it down beautifully. Now, takeoff flaps this time. There it is, in the air, flying right through the hole. Guys, this thing is a powerhouse. Beautiful. Clouds tonight. Wish it was calm like last night. Guys, coordinate your turns with this plane. It's gonna help it to look better. It's gonna help it to perform better, and also keep that nose pointed where you want and get the power where you want, okay?
Do the wings seem really flexy?
They seem flexy.
Is that okay?
But so do the flexible landing gear, which by the way, in our first flight, I just wanna show you this. Throttle cuts on. Whoop, 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 whoop. That is sliding in and out, and it is carbon fiber. And I did hit that transition in the first flight. You guys will see if you haven't already seen it. Very windy. I don't feel like it's showing the plane as good as it should or could. I'm gonna get this on the mains as soon as I can. I'm just doing grass hops here. There we go. Get it on the mains. There it is. Then use the rudder. Fly it like a car. Out of the flaps. Right over there. Ain't no turbulence gonna stop me. And yeah, there's definitely a little bit of flexiness in the wings. I don't have a huge problem because I think it looks like it's a heavy loaded plane. And to be honest, we have a pretty big battery in here. Yes, you can use the rudder to roll the aircraft just a little bit. It will do a nice, super relaxed, coordinated looking turn if you just use the rudder right over the top of that small cherry. Yerk, yerk, yerk. That's what it sounds like when I come out of the throttle. Okay, takeoff flaps. Now, I like cruising around with the takeoff flaps. I feel like this plane lives in that arena. It loves to fly there. Look at that. Look at that getting kicked up like that. So beautiful. Lots of rudder, a little bit of elevator. Rudder and elevator. Rudder and elevator. 10% of each. And look at that perfect coordinated turn. Almost no aileron. Actually none. That's crazy. No ailerons. Yeah. Very cool. Look at that thing. Everybody inside's like puking their lunches. Okay, full landing flaps. Let's try a landing on the runway. Okay. Camera crew, you good? Okay. There it is. And then off into the grass, just because we're gonna slow it down. Now, one thing I don't like about this plane is because of the lack of thrust reverse, you do have to roll out. And it's got pretty good wheels, but they're not soft tires. So you're gonna spin out, you're gonna roll out for a long time if you come in hot like that. Remember, when it's extra windy, you tend to come in a little hot because you gotta keep the plane flying to counter the crosswinds, okay? So throttle cuts off, get it flying, get it off of the tail wheel. Oh, look at it, caught in the grass. Oh yeah, through the hole. Beautiful. Guys, it is a real blast to fly this plane. I know you're desperate for something new because at the same time, we have so many good planes to choose from. There aren't very many new planes being released right now. And I know we just did one here not too long ago. But I gotta be honest, I mean, it's kind of like a re-release if you really get right down to it. I don't wanna take anything away from the extra 300. Look at that beautiful stall turn I can do now, no problem. That's 100%, not 150. Remember, we kicked it back down. And I gotta say, even though I did enjoy that plane, I think it's a good plane. I think a lot of people are gonna want that plane. I just feel like it's still kind of like more of the same. Not such a bad thing to get more of the same when you had a discontinued item that was popular and people liked, but it's hardly a new plane. It's like the same plane with a different livery, okay? So I gotta say, I am so happy to be bringing this plane because not only is it a plane I'm excited to bring, because I don't know that I've had a Pilatus in this side. What Pilatus have we had? We have the
PC-21.
The PC-21 is a different plane.
Yeah, it is. It's
the PC-21 is a long-nosed, it's red, it's a low wing, fast flyer retracts. It's an FMS offering. It's very good. I love the way it flies. But it is nothing like this. This is basically gonna be what they take up parachuters in. Very popular. And they also crop dust with these too, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think people use them for crop dust. We have a manned aircraft, but the ceiling is low. Oh, look where he is.
Yeah.
You guys see him up there?
Yep, right there.
We are a long, 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 long ways away from that guy.
Yeah.
Is that the float plane that we always see? No.
No, I don't think so.
Wow, he's under the ceiling. I wonder if he's VFR. That's a twin.
Yep.
What is that?
He's way to the south.
Is that a Beechcraft?
I don't know. Hey, pay attention to your plane though.
Oh, I'm paying attention to both.
Okay.
That's why I'm up there. So guys, if you're ever flying and you're not respecting manned aircraft, please do. It's more important than our toys. I love toys, but I want to keep people safe. It's important for our reputation if it's not important for safety, but it is obviously important for safety. Look at that, beating the heck out of the rudder or landing gear and just really having a good time doing it inside pass. If you can stay where you are, you're good. Look at that turbulence.
I know.
Look like the fuse is trying to make love to the air. And by the way, I gotta say, the slow flight performance in this it's not terrible, but you've got a lot of wind. I would like to see how good it does in the dead calm, because to be honest, our maiden flight, we did not have a rudder.
Right.
We had like maybe 5% of what we have now. So as you can see, the thing with AS3X paired up in this thing, it's doing okay. It doesn't look quite as good in my opinion. We have a lot better lighting tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our 10-second countdown on 12.
And we did do some adjustments on this battery, right?
What adjustments?
Inside, what you did was on this same battery.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So we should be still plenty good. Full landing flaps, slip, 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 and down, if you want. And guys, the thing I love about this plane is not only the looks, but the fact that it comes out of the box in pretty dang good shape. The only issues we had were basically the rudder needed to be broke free. We didn't know that. We learned that and we shared it. We'll show you at the very end of the video. So if you saw our first flight, I can't even like take off. It goes like this and then I just jank it in the air, which is very embarrassing for a manufacturer. So we'll definitely bring that up to FPV Build so they can disseminate that information as necessary. Also, I was gonna suggest plan on a couple of Q-tips, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and some China glue is what I would suggest. You can use CA, but it's gonna break free all at once, whereas China glue will slide out slowly. Clean out the bottom, the fuse mounts. It's T-shaped. You'll see it in the Unbox Build radio setup, because as you're working to install them, first of all, you're probably gonna rip them out anyway. You'll understand, just watch our Unbox Build radio setup. It's one of the most frustrating parts of this build. Once you get that fixed, you're gonna be golden, okay? Once you get the rudder fixed, if your prop needs balancing like ours did, then that helped a lot for performance, and also black tape around the battery tray. And I just have my battery forced in there and wedged with another piece of foam that we had lying around, and it actually worked fantastically. And it's gone from being really annoying to not only does it look good, it's not a problem loading the battery, and it's secure. So it went from not looking good and being a huge pain in the butt and a worry of mine to being, I don't care, it looks good, and it's quick. which is all the things I like about a battery. Now, I could go to a 2200 4S, and I think this plane would still perform better. It probably wouldn't bend the wings as much because you'd be a heck of a lot lighter load. Because we're talking about 1,000 less milliamp hours times 4, so it's quite a bit of a weight, okay? But I gotta say, getting this thing on the mains, taking off and flying, look at this. Look how easy it is to get it on its mains. So gorgeous. And it's windy, folks. It's not like it's dead calm. Look at that windsock. And that does not do justice to the turbulation that we're dealing with. Look at that. The tail just got kicked. Now we're going into the wind. Light on the throttle. I just want to see how the flight performance is. Look at that thing getting kicked around, guys. Even with AS3X, the thing is just wonking around, and yet I can fly it, and I have full authority and control over it. I don't feel out of control, except for the time that I screamed like a girl, or maybe a schizophrenic patient or something. I don't know. How did I scream earlier? Was that pretty bad?
Like a girl, yeah.
Like a girl? It was a girl?
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Where are the girls screaming like that?
I don't know.
You guys see that touch and went? That was just the left wheel. Beautiful. So folks, if you want to get one of these and surprise yourself with a package that the RC manufacturer accidentally sent but forgot to charge you, at least your wife thinks, then all you have to do is look in the links of the video description below and buy one for yourself. I mean, they accidentally sent it. I didn't even know it was coming, but I was so excited when I saw it, honey. That's a new one for you. Whoa, snakes in the basement! Are you nervous about
You're
me
making
crashing?
me super nervous.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Because of the wind.
You should not be nervous.
The wind is making me nervous.
Over the cherry? Okay, come out one step. I'm flying with the wind there, guys. I'm gonna try to take it the other direction. Another step back, please. Perfect, perfect. Here we go. Here we go, guys. Take off flaps. We're going through the corridor. Look at this. I want whoa, 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 whoa. Man, it's just so dirty there. It's just all the turbulation that's blowing through gets hit on top of those trees, and then we're left with what's left. Bird! Look at this bird. This bird wants to fight. It's picking a fight. Actually, that bird totally did not pick a fight. I'm picking a fight now. Get over here, bird. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we have a timer on this plane. Did you know that?
Yeah, you're like 5 minutes over.
Oh, just 5?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 4 minutes and 47 over, to be more specific. All right, let's try to do a relaxed, drawn-out landing. I don't know if we're gonna get it because it's so dang windy. I'm gonna keep that nose pointed down. I'm pointing toward the runway. Look at those landing gear. Oh, man. Sorry, I can't take that landing, camera crew. We're not gonna take it. That's the way all people final in Pilatus. They do half loops. They're way over to the left. Okay. We're good. Getting down, getting down, getting down, getting down, getting down, getting down, getting down. Woo! I gotta say, this plane has an interesting habit. I gotta talk about this for a second. Has an interesting habit of feeling like it's gonna fly for 17 miles and then like all of a sudden, oh, I'm out of energy. Right at ground effect, okay? So here we go. Oh shoot, I'm out of battery. Oh, dang it. Grasshops, grasshops, grasshops. That's 50% throttle. I got so much left in the tank, it's crazy. Oh, we were 25% left after the 17 minutes. Camera crew?
Really?
Isn't that, yep,
okay.
I said that wrong in the video, dang it. Slip, 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 slip. Take off flaps now. Yes, there it is. Beautiful, touch and went. Ooh, are we out? No, we're not out. We're still flying. Take off flaps. Guys, Kelvin, you did a good job. I mean, Kevin, well, what's his name? Kavan?
Kavan.
Kavan. Kavan. Whoa, 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 whoa! I had no flaps. I had no flaps on that landing. I can't possibly take that. Kelvin, what are you doing? You're killing me here.
This is called tempting fate.
You mean running the battery out? I mean, you got to get the parachuters out.
I just feel like we haven't had the day for success.
Nah, we have. It's okay. We saw F-16s fly. We're good. Okay, here we go. Full landing flaps. Keeping the speed up. Keeping the nose down. Here we go. A little bit of throttle. There it is. We're there. Yes! Oh, crosswind, you suck. So guys, at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna end on grass hops because it's just so dang greasy. Okay, here we go. Grass hops. Oh yeah. Grass hops. Here we go. Grass hops coming. You guys ready? Are you ready for what I'm putting down?
I'm ready.
Okay, here it is. Let's try to make it look good. There it is.
It does really
okay,
nice
so
grass.
the Pilatus PC-6.
Yep.
From Kavan.
No.
Kavan.
Kavan.
Kelvin?
If you're right and it's Kavan, I'm gonna be mad. They're gonna change it.
Kavan?
Kavan.
So all I've got to say is we have links in the video description below, so you don't even know how to say it.
You don't even have to know how to pronounce it.
Throttle cuts on, flaps are up. What a beautiful plane. All I've got to say is absolutely wonderful experience. It looks like I popped my landing gear out though, so that's kind of annoying.
Oh,
whoops.
Oh.
Spring, 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 right here. Okay. There's a spring. Whoop. This plane is somewhat insatiable in this regard. So I'm gonna see what happened. Did I bust the spring out? I don't know how that came out. Oh no! My wing strut popped out. Somebody's glue job wasn't good enough.
China glue failed you.
China, you cheat. What are you doing, China? Look, now you get to see now you get to see how this is built. Didn't really want to, but you get to see it, okay? So this goes around that, or something like that. Then this goes in there, and it's kind of awkward. Okay, so I gotta go in so I can do this. Whoa, look, we broke that mount free too. Son of a biscuit lover. And then we're gonna have to CA that. So I gotta say, I was just ready to tell you how amazing my performance was, and then I lost.
You broke out on the other side too. I told you your wings were being flexy.
They were being kind of flexy. Guys, we weren't nice to this plane. It's awesome, I really like it. Even with those current woes, I really enjoyed this plane. It was super fun. And can you argue with the scale lines on this beauty? I mean, it's absolutely fantastic looking. It's very fun in the air. It does a good job. A little bit more work than I was hoping for at this price point. It's an expensive plane compared to some of the offerings, but it is all new, and actually all new for us, unless you're over in Europe and then you probably had access to Kavan for a long time. That's right, I said it right. Just think Kavan de Gras. Kavan de Gras. Is that how you say that guy's name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's like a country singer.
Oh.
Anyway, sometimes I wonder.
I'm busy.
I just feel alone
running our YouTube channel
on this side of the camera, making a fool of myself. All right, speaking of making a fool of myself, I gotta go fix the landing gear I broke because I probably did something stupid. But I'm gonna go in there, I'll probably CA it, it'll be no big deal, and then this thing is gonna be ready to rock and roll for another go around. I said this on the end of my first flight. I'm probably gonna have to just take something hot and stick it in there and make a pinhole, and then I'm gonna take that hot thing out really quick, and then I'm gonna put like a push pin in that's gonna lock this in to the frame of the plane. Okay, because I'm sick of those things popping out. There's no reason they should, because obviously I was not flying in ultra turbulent conditions at all.
Right.
And I gotta say, tons of power, tons of fun, absolute extreme beauty on scales we've never seen before. And at the end of the day, the imperfections, I'm overlooking them, and I think you should too. But just be aware of them. You're gonna have a great experience. Maybe we end up showing this video in order now that we had the problem here. I don't know. All I've got to say is the wind conditions were way better last night.
Yeah, it was
the thing
way
looked
calmer.
gorgeous. I just hope our lighting was good enough. But special thanks to FPV Builds for working with us on this. We're excited for you guys. We know you're small family business, just like, well, whatever you call what we do. So, you know, if you're eating dinner at midnight or 1 in the morning and you do that every day of the week because you're busy like doing things and working hard, and then you go to do a day job and you're, you know, it's just, it never seems to end. And it's all because we really, really care about this hobby. We care about you guys. We want you guys to get the best. And so we give it our best. That doesn't mean we're always doing as good as others, and it doesn't mean that it's maybe always up to your expectations, but we fall at your mercy. We want to give you guys the best we can, and the best we can is still the best we can. So we hope you guys will tolerate it. And we hope you enjoyed it, because the Kavan is really good. I think you're gonna like it. It's an amazing plane. There's definitely a couple of touch-up issues. Battery tray, battery size, or battery holder size. Obviously the mounts here, my China glue solution was probably not good enough, and here's why: because I didn't let it set up long enough. If I would have let it set up longer, it might have been fine. We could actually have Nate hot glue it.
It's been, I bet he has a butter knife we could use too.
A butter knife and hot glue?
It's been like it's been 10 hours.
I was just scraping my eyes out because I was thinking about watching that video. Sorry, it's been how many hours?
You did that before we left for the air show. It's been 10.
Was that when
11.
We were standing in line for 2 hours and then they sent us away because...
Yeah, we tell them about that later. We don't have to go into it now.
We'll tell you about it later. It was super awesome.
If you drove all the way to Offutt and you didn't see us,
if you drove 5 hours round trip with your family of 6 to watch an air show, arriving multiple hours ahead of the cutoff times for the shuttle service for a 7-minute ride, or 6-minute ride actually, to the closest location, of which there was plenty of parking and a long line of humans, and you watched 10 buses get filled in 2 hours, you too could be frustrated.
We'll tell you more about it in the end.
You'll hear more.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I don't want to end on a downer, because this plane is awesome. I think you should get it. It's really fun. I don't oftentimes say I think you should get a plane, but I just want you guys to understand something. When there's new kids on the block, you know what it does? It puts a little bit of pressure on the big boys to keep giving us what we want, because, to be honest, I really like this plane. I really like the PC-6. I like it a lot, and I think you will too, even despite a couple of flaws. This is not a flawless plane. It is not the fastest. It is not the cheapest. It is not the best. But we almost never review those things. In fact, I've never reviewed any of those things.
Nope.
Fastest, best, or cheapest, or fastest, or slowest. We just don't do that on Brian Phillips RC. What we do is we show them the way that they actually work. We try our best to show them in a positive light, if possible. We show them in a considerably similar circumstances as much as we can. Sometimes the wind and the rain and the tornadoes in the background and stuff like that are gonna happen. But we wanna bring fairness, truth, honesty, and wholehearted effort to this channel, and we hope we are delivering. So if you guys enjoy the content, and it's better than, hey, look at this thing, it's an airplane, it's red and it's white, you should buy one, yeah. We try not to do that either. I mean, we do talk about what colors they are sometimes. But at the end of the day, we want to bring you a little more substance and excitement and fulfillment. And that's why it takes us 17 times as long as the competitors. All right, so that's all we got for you. Stay tuned, we're gonna show you clips of these couple of touch-ups. We were super excited about the rudder, so forgive me if I seemed a little bit excited about a rudder, but I get excited about a tail end that works. And also, if we missed you at Offutt, blame the federal government.
Yep, pretty much.
And seriously, there's so much more coming. If you want to see the Unbox Build radio setup, it's already published. You can watch it whenever you want. But for now, we're just hoping you'll stick around and see the couple of upgrades we did. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.